Ever wondered what secrets your family tree might be hiding? What if the person you vowed to spend the rest of your life with was, in fact, the one who gave you life? In a story that sounds like it's ripped straight from a Greek tragedy, one woman's search for her roots led her to a horrifying truth that was hiding in plain sight, right in her own home. She didn't just find a long-lost relative. She found out she had married her own father. Our story begins with Valerie, a woman living under the warm Florida sun in the 1990s. Life for Valerie was, by all accounts, pretty normal. She had a close relationship with her mother and the man she knew as her father, her mother's husband. He had raised her since she was a little girl, loved her, and provided for her. From the outside, they were a typical happy family. Valerie grew up, navigated the ups and downs of school, friendships, and teenage crushes, completely unaware that a fundamental piece of her identity was a lie. She believed the man who tucked her in at night was her biological father. Why would she think otherwise? She had no reason to doubt the life she was living, no clue that her real father was out there somewhere, a ghost in her own life story. This blissful ignorance was the foundation of her world, a foundation that was about to be shattered in the most unimaginable way possible. As Valerie blossomed into a young woman, she did what many of us do. She started looking for love. She met a man, let's call him Percy. Their connection was instant and powerful. It was one of those whirlwind romances you see in movies. They felt an uncanny familiarity, a sense of having known each other their whole lives. Friends and family noted how well they clicked, finishing each other's sentences and sharing an unspoken understanding. It seemed like fate. Percy was charming, kind, and seemed to understand her in a way no one else ever had. The love between them grew deeper with each passing day. He wasn't just a boyfriend, he was her soulmate. After a passionate courtship, they decided to get married. Their wedding day was a joyous occasion, celebrated with friends and family, including Valerie's mother and the man she believed was her dad. They exchanged vows, promising to love and cherish one another forever, completely oblivious to the catastrophic secret that bound them together not by fate, but by blood. They settled into married life, building a home and a future, all while the truth lay dormant, waiting for the right moment to erupt. For years, Valerie and Percy lived as husband and wife. They shared a home, they shared their lives, they even had a child together. Everything seemed perfect. But a small, nagging question always lingered in the back of Valerie's mind. She'd always felt a slight disconnect from the man who raised her. Subtle differences that she couldn't quite put her finger on. The mystery of her own origins started to grow. Who was she, really? This question led her to the burgeoning world of consumer DNA testing. Companies were promising to unlock the secrets of your ancestry with a simple saliva sample. Intrigued and hoping to fill in some gaps in her family tree, Valerie ordered a kit. It felt like a fun, harmless project, a way to learn more about her heritage. Percy, her loving husband, was supportive. It was just a curious peek into the past, or so they thought. Neither of them could have possibly comprehended that this innocent test would become the key that would unlock a Pandora's box of family secrets, turning their entire world upside down. The results were on their way, and with them, a tidal wave of truth. The day the email arrived with her DNA results, Valerie felt a flutter of excitement. She clicked the link, her eyes scanning the familiar pie charts of her ancestry. But then she scrolled down to the section for DNA relatives. Her heart stopped. At the very top of the list, under the category of father, was a name she recognized instantly. Percy, her husband. It couldn't be right. It had to be a mistake, a glitch in the system. She stared at the screen, reading it over and over again, her mind refusing to process the information. The man she loved, the man she had a child with, the man she shared a bed with every night, was her biological father. Panic set in. The world tilted on its axis. Every memory, every shared laugh, every intimate moment was suddenly cast in a horrifying new light. The uncanny connection they felt, that sense of deep familiarity, it wasn't romantic destiny, it was genetics. The DNA test wasn't a glitch. The confirmation came crashing down when a devastated Valerie confronted her mother. The story that unraveled was one of teenage love, heartbreak, and long-held secrets. It turned out Valerie's mother had a brief, intense relationship with Percy when they were very young. Shortly after, she discovered she was pregnant. Scared and overwhelmed, she broke things off with Percy without ever telling him about the baby. He moved away, and she moved on, eventually marrying another man who agreed to raise Valerie as his own. He was the only father Valerie ever knew. Years later, through a cruel twist of fate, Valerie met Percy, a man who had no idea he had a daughter, let alone that she was the woman he was falling in love with. The mother, upon seeing her daughter with her old flame, was trapped in an impossible situation. Did she reveal the truth and shatter her daughter's world and her own marriage? Or did she stay silent and pray no one ever found out? She chose silence, a decision that allowed an unthinkable tragedy to unfold right before her eyes. The revelation was catastrophic. The marriage was immediately annulled. The love story that had once been their greatest joy was now the source of their deepest trauma. Valerie and Percy were no longer husband and wife, they were father and daughter, strangers who had shared the most intimate bond possible. The psychological fallout was immense. How do you unknow something so fundamental? How do you rewire your brain to see your former spouse, the father of your child, as your own parent? They were forced to navigate an emotional and ethical minefield that few could ever imagine, all while trying to co-parent the child they had together. A child who was now also their grandchild. The family was shattered, relationships were destroyed, and lives were irrevocably altered. There was no going back to the way things were. The happily ever after had turned into a living nightmare. In the end, there was no trial, no prison sentence. The crime here wasn't one of malice, but of ignorance and tragic coincidence. The real sentence was the lifelong burden of the truth. Valerie and Percy had to find a way to move forward, to piece together a new reality from the wreckage of their old one. The legal system had no neat solution for a situation this complex and heartbreaking. The story serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most devastating secrets are not buried in a stranger's past, but in our own. It forces us to ask, how well do we really know the people we love, and how well do we really know ourselves? The truth, as Valerie discovered, can sometimes be far more terrifying than any lie. Thank you so much for watching this journey into the shadows with us here at Killume. If this story left you as stunned as it left us, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the unbelievable. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a case. Stay safe and always question the story you're told.